Welcome to Fireteam Chat, IGN's Destiny show. Thank you so much for joining us. Joining me in the studio today is Travis and Brian.
What's up?
And BlizzCon is happening as we record this, so that's okay. A lot of cool stuff out of BlizzCon. We're going to be talking all about Destiny today. We're going to talk about Festival Lost, the Xenophage exotic gun. We're talking about Momentum Control, the Pit, now that we got to try it, the new Pinnacle grind that was announced, and the Altar of Sorrow event. We asked you guys what you liked and disliked. I really, really liked that exercise, actually. Some really, really cool comments, and I have a few of those to go over. But let's get right into it. I want to start by talking about Xenophage. This gun's broken, right?
Actually, I think it is doing less damage than intended. There was a comment that I think either Cosmo or DMG did on Reddit saying that the gun wasn't doing as much damage as intended.
Yeah, it doesn't.
The crit is on purpose.
Yeah,
no critting is on purpose.
Yeah, so it does about like 10,000 a shot versus Izanagi's 100,000. So
yeah, you're like, hold on
it's
minute.
Like something seems wrong. I know heavy machine guns got toned down, or LMGs got toned down, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't really understand that gun or what I'm supposed to do with it, but it sure is fun in momentum control.
Yeah. So that gun kicked off with a little cutscene from Eris. That was cool. So
Stop touching things.
What do you think happened? What do you think happened? Do you think she's been like corrupted to be evil Eris, or what that was all about?
What was going on with her relic too? It like changed into something weird.
Yeah,
that was cool.
I think
she'll be fully corrupted by darkness.
Yeah, but I love that sort of storytelling. One of the criticisms we saw in the comment is that there is not a lot going on in Destiny 2 right now, and I can understand. Just generally speaking, like there's not a lot going on with Shadowkeep, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I kind of disagree. I am playing Destiny more than I ever have, and I think it's done a good job of engaging me towards different things. I got Randy's this week because of Momentum Control, which we're going to talk about this week. I'm working on exit strategy right now, and I got the machine gun by farming. I just would go into a Nightfall and then go into a Lost Sector and just farm that one out really quick.
Edgewise?
Yeah. What about you guys? How are you feeling about Shadowkeep now that we're in pretty far and all this stuff is happening
now
this
that
week?
Shadowkeep 2 came out?
Well, it's certainly more fleshed out. There's like way more to do now with the dungeon there and momentum control. We finally got a new PvP mode, which was kind of one of my criticisms in the review. I do wish that we would stop getting like cliffhangers, because I feel like that's all we've gotten in all of Destiny 2 is just cliffhangers.
Shadowkeep being a very
the main
big
story, right?
Not just main story, but what happened with not just the main story, but what happened with this week's cutscene from Eris.
This week's cutscene is a cliffhanger. The main Shadowkeep campaign is a cliffhanger. Rasputin coming online is a cliffhanger. You know what I mean? Like it's all cliffhangers. The
end of Vanilla was a cliffhanger.
Yeah, it's all cliffhangers. So I just want
give
something
me
to
something.
Happen. Yeah,
I agree. Initially, I sort of thought like, oh man, it's kind of bummer that it ended on such a abrupt end. But then we had the Eris weeklies and we had to dispel her spirits. We dispel her spirits, and now she's like, there's like this thing going on. I feel like they're breadcrumbing us toward this dramatic conclusion to the season that will lead into the new season.
Yeah.
And some people might feel like that's a parsing out of content and they might not enjoy that, right? And I think that might be where you're coming from, and I bet you're echoing a lot of the sentiment of the community, because I've seen that a lot in the comments and such. I am digging it. I like that I have at least one thing to do every week, and that is to go figure out what's going on with Eris' spirit. Now, next week, what is going to be going on? That is the question.
Yeah, I'm not sure. And then, so I would hope that you're right and that this season's going to end with like some crazy conclusion. And if it does, I'll eat crow on that. But I just like another one we forgot to mention is the Uldren Sov cliffhanger.
We did forget to mention that. We talked a little bit about that last week, where we're just like, where is he? Yeah, what's going on with him?
Well, I felt like that was the conclusion to the season of Forsaken.
Because that came out with the Black Forge.
Yeah, right? I think it came out right before the Black Forge. But yeah, I feel like their conclusions are always just another cliffhanger.
We got the raid challenge. 11.5. Iron Banner's coming back next week. We know about that. I feel like Iron Banner was just here, by the way.
It was 1 week ago.
And then 11/19, the final assault happens. So we're about
lore-wise,
2-3 weeks
going on next week.
Yeah, we're about 2-3 weeks from the conclusion of Season of the Undying.
I need to get exit strategy.
Yeah. So if you're farming out any of the weapons, which I have been actually, you have a very limited amount of time to do it.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
But I have actually liked this strategy, and I feel they've done a really good job of engaging me towards interesting activities. Yeah, going for Undying has inspired me to sort of look at the stuff that they want you to do.
Yeah.
Xbox did a great job of this when they introduced achievements. I know it's not an original idea, but they would make me play like Mass Effect in an interesting way. And now I'm doing that with Destiny. Like I'm actually grinding out the pinnacle weapons because it's tied to the title, which actually seems achievable now.
Yeah.
Especially with momentum control, because before that, I was just like, I'm never getting Randy.
Let's talk about momentum control. We played it a ton. They compared it to SWAT last week. This is a new PvP mode. You're the PvP guy, Travis. Take it away.
I love it. Yeah, so I'm a huge fan of SWAT. This feels like SWAT, and it's just like everything about it is so broken, but in a good way. It's kind of like when the beam rifle, which one was it? The solar beam rifle was broken.
The trace rifle.
It was it was Prometheus lens.
Yeah, Prometheus lens that weekend where we were all playing laser tag.
Yeah,
it kind of feels like that, but a lot more deliberate than the laser tag. Although I still think the laser tag.
A note on that: I get asked all the time where my emblem's from.
Yeah,
and it's from that week.
It's
when
from the
Prometheus lens was broken.
Yeah. So I really enjoy it. I've been using Fighting Lion, which is ridiculous because it's a primary ammo, kinetic ammo.
Right.
So, and then you don't even have to get in the vicinity. Like if they get any chip damage from the explosion, they're just dead.
Yeah,
it's so amazing. So really enjoying that.
One note on it. Excellent week to grind out your Randys. Throwing knife. If you need your kills.
Double up if you have the Jade Rabbit catalyst. Double up. Use that. It's a 150 scout rifle.
Yeah.
You'll have the catalyst for that in no time.
Yeah. So I think it's 250 kills to get Randys.
Yeah.
Right. And the Jade Catalyst is 250 kills. So you can knock out 2 in 1. For a while I was doing Ariana's. You can actually do any 150 RPM scout, one tap. But I noticed Jade is particularly great because of its range.
Yeah, also it's just a good gun to use in that mode. Like one taps headshots, it's insane. So I've been really enjoying it. I played a lot. Tried out Xenophage in it. Stupid, but it's fun to use. But yeah, I'm just having a lot of fun of it, and I really like the fact that it completely changes the sandbox. Like the supers you might not normally use are now really good because it kind of encourages you to use roaming supers.
Right.
So now like Tickle Fingers is a valid.
Isn't as bad.
Yeah, it's not as bad. So I'm really enjoying it. I hope that they keep it around like as a more regular playlist because it is very useful for grinding and also just a lot of fun if you'd rather not like think. I like that it doesn't require you to really like use teamwork.
Yeah, it does not. It does not.
Everybody just, it kind of reminds me, and I'm a big Halo guy. So like, it kind of reminds me of the old Halo days where there were like bizarre playlists and custom game modes and everybody was just doing silly stuff. I've always wanted Destiny to do that because I don't think it's ever going to be balanced because it's got, 50,000 guns. So I just say, embrace the chaos.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing is like not hearing a lot of like complaints about momentum control because like, you can't really complain about a mode that is this way intentionally. So it's like, when people complain like, oh, this gun's overpowered, that gun's overpowered. It's like, if you want that, play regular PvP.
Yeah.
Whereas this mode, everybody's getting one shot by everything.
I will say this, the control element feels really out of place. Like, I don't know why.
I'm strangling Brian.
Like, what is this?
Put your cable behind your arm.
You can't. It's
Mr. Producer.
It's tied up with you.
All right.
But yeah, I don't know why control is in the game. Like nobody really. Is that necessary? Like, couldn't they have just made it clash?
I think they should have just made it clash,
Yeah.
especially since like that mode is going to be active throughout the Festival of the Lost. And an Iron Banner will be here next week. So it's like we're going to have momentum control, Iron Banner that has control, and then control is still in the game. So it's like we have these like 3 playlists dominating with like a style of control.
Yeah, I know Clash is kind of like the obvious one, but I really think it would be cool if they did like momentum elimination. That way it's super high stakes, really slow. Everybody's like, dude, one shot and this is over.
This is what trials should be.
Yeah. I think that would be terrible because everyone's just going to turtle. It's going to be, everyone's going to be hiding in their corner and then it'll be like flag.
I imagine just like 30 seconds of just everybody being like.
Maybe if they did that, but with radar.
It needs to be that just like momentum is currently, but there needs to be a desirable thing in the middle, like a flag that if you cap it, like a 1-point control.
Well, that's how it was with elimination, right? They had that if the match went on for too long. Then
If it went on for too long, I think you should just start with that. The whole design philosophy of momentum control is to make things faster. You respawn instantly, kills are instant, basically, if you get
That's true.
one tap.
Although it could end up just being really short in general. Like people just might not be careful and run forward and just be like, so.
Personally, I disagree with you guys. Control is my favorite mode. So anytime control comes back and incentivizes you to go to points, it kind of telegraphs where you're supposed to go as a player to attack a group. Like, okay, they have B, they're going to be spawning at B. Maybe I should keep an eye out right there.
I don't have a problem with control. At all.
But they've used it a lot.
Yeah.
I love control. I just think it feels a little out of place for this game mode because, like you said, like everything's like really fast, instant respawns, and it seems really weird that it's like, oh yeah, I also have to capture these zones. But it's clearly not the main feature of the mode. It's like
in a way, it just feels like everybody's using it right now to grind out specific things. So nobody really cares about the objectives in the game. They just want the kills.
I just wanted to see which guns were cool too.
Yeah, exactly.
The submachine guns are insane, by the way.
Pulse rifles aren't great.
No, I was using
I know you're going to get outclassed by a 150 every time. So it's just like at range, don't do it.
Yeah, I was going to grind out my vigilance wing, but I'm like, oh, this is going to be easier in traditional PvP because it's like a 2-burst, right? If you really nail it. Anyway, that is our take on momentum control. Thumbs up, good job, Lars and the rest of the PvP team. Having a blast with that one. The other big event, before we get to the pit, let's talk about the precursor to the pit, the Altar of Sorrow. This is a world event that is sort of taking place and has unique drops if you get to tier 5. It also is a pinnacle drop, so you will be able to get a pinnacle item for completing this. And it has you kill waves of big bosses.
Nightmares.
Yeah. You get all the way to wave 5. You kill the final big boss nightmare who spawns big other nightmares. Then you get a weapon drop for the week. And it's really cool. For the day.
It rotates daily, right?
Yeah, daily.
It's not weekly.
There's been a shotgun sniper and rocket launcher, and I actually didn't check to see what it was today. Maybe it'll just go back because
I mean, it probably just resets back.
I hope it's not a full swath of weapons because
I think it's just the 3.
I missed the shoddy, I think. I got the sniper.
In the TWAB, they talk about Altar of Sorrow, and they only show the 3, the sniper, the shotgun, and the rocket launcher.
I saw the images, but there was no clarification if those were the only 3.
Yeah.
I hope this time it's these 3 and next time it's next 3 because we have 2 chances to get all the weapons, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I dig the Altar of Sorrow. I like that it incentivizes you to go there every day. It feels like an organic escalation protocol that people want to do and are incentivized to do because they're either doing the quest or whatever. I wonder if it's going to have longevity, though. I think that's my only question about it.
I can't imagine it will. I mean, especially it seems less involved than escalation protocol, and the rewards aren't as like. They're doing what they didn't do with escalation protocols. Like they were kind of like locked out weekly from weapons.
Yeah,
and you could only get 1 armor a week. Based on the I forget what they're called, but the things that you give to Anna at their place.
Electron?
No, not Electron.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. So like I imagine that like after people start getting their best rolls, within the first week, they're just gonna move on.
Yeah. Maybe. What do you think of the mode, though, Brian?
I think it's great. It's fun. And when comparing it to Escalation Protocol, it feels a lot more fast-paced, and it's just continually going. Kind of weird when it tells you to go to the next, what do they call it, where the nightmares spawn?
Yeah.
It tells
Point
you,
of interest.
I guess,
Spire?
I don't know what they're calling it. But when you go to that area, it's like it has a countdown until the next one starts spawning, but then it spawns somewhere else. So the waypoint tells you to go somewhere, but it's over there.
Oh yeah, it's the area you're supposed to
weird.
defend, and then they
But they spawn over there, and it's like, no, I want to go over there. I'm going to get them as they're coming out of it. Yeah.
You like it?
Yeah, I liked it. I didn't play it a whole lot because I was just trying to get through the dungeon and get to PvP. And all
You
that
have to
stuff.
play it to get the dungeon, though, don't you?
Yes.
You have to do it.
I mean, if somebody does it and you join their party, you can go into the dungeon if you haven't done Ultra
really?
Sorrow
But
at
for
all.
you to unlock it, you have to
unlock
complete
it from the director, yes. But if you haven't done Altar of Sorrow, you can go in with somebody who's already.
Yeah,
opened
I
it.
only did it once. My initial impression was kind of took a really long time, but maybe I was just like a group of randoms that were taking it very slowly. I was also kind of figuring it out.
Yeah, it's the length of it actually depends on the team because
Right.
you get points for enemies you kill. Like if you just kill random red bars, then you get +1 second per kill. So I was just kind of that guy who's looking at the time ticking down. Man, it's just going down. I'm like, we're gonna lose this. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna stop DPSing the boss. I'm just gonna kill because ads just spawn infinitely.
Yeah.
Let's just kill them, and then you just keep getting time back. So
Did you guys ever have the bosses like hiding in the orbs they spawn from and not being able to hurt them? That happened to me twice.
Sometimes they'll go back in there, and it's just like, just chill, just let them come out.
yeah, I think it's if like all like
being shot.
4 or 5 people who are in the lobby are kind of like crowding around his spawn point. He's like, I'm not coming out there. That's instant death. What do you want me to do?
You crazy? Yeah. I like it also. And that's sort of our take on Altar of Sorrow. Altar of Sorrow opened the pathways to the pit. The dungeon. We finally got to see the flame-covered knight who I love the design of. And I think the designer got subtweeted or something. But anyway, great job. I love that knight. I like the pit. Some people I have seen are saying it's too easy. What's your take, Travis? Do you like it? Is it too easy?
Yeah,
Is it perfect?
I never had trouble with it. Definitely, like I was just like, okay. And the thing I like about it is that you could figure out the mechanics pretty easily. But I think they could have made it a little bit more challenging for you to actually accomplish it because we were sort of figuring it out as we went and really never wiped. The hardest part is actually the optional boss for the Xenophage quest because that guy is like the room is kind of the boss because it's just an irritatingly shaped room. Like you're getting caught on those spikes.
And the wizard is just melting you as you're trying to do it.
That was really irritating. But other than that, like we kind of just blew through it. I really like the final boss encounter. Just how it includes all the mechanics together, and you kind of have to. I thought that was really.
The first thing I thought when I went in that room, I kind of just slammed my hand on the table. Well, reskin in the dungeon. I already did it because you're just doing the mechanics. You've already been doing it. It was mostly a joke. But.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. Introduce the mechanics throughout.
Yeah. But it was. It's less about introducing the mechanic and using the exact same enemies to do the exact same thing you'd already done in the dungeon.
They didn't remix.
It wasn't remixed. It was like, hey, you remember that boss you killed? Do it again. Do it again.
I really, really liked fighting him. I thought it was really, really cool, especially because there was the moment before the final boss. It is basically a throwback to King's Fall, the King's Fall raid, the encounter before War Priest, where you have to hold the spire and shoot the knights. I was like, oh my God, this is very similar to an encounter from the King's Fall raid that I actually really
But worse, because you have more knights raining their boomer sticks on you.
It's 2.
Yeah.
I mean, they keep coming.
That's more. That's 50% more.
Yeah, but it was fun. I enjoyed that, and I recognized the design mechanic right away, and it was kind of a cool throwback. Overall, I like the design of it. It's a really cool design. I like how you go down into the pit, and that it's sort of really vertical in design nature. Like the whole thing is up to down. You go all the way into the depths.
Gives you the whole sense of how large the Scarlet Keep actually is. You see this giant tower on the surface of the moon. Then you go into this pit, and it just keeps going down and down and down.
I know it's not a raid. I kind of wish that there were more bosses, though. There's basically only one, and then the optional Xenophage one is basically just a wizard with no changes.
The wizard, the knight at the end. Isn't there one more?
No.
Then it's just smaller bosses that you have to kill to like clear.
It's just those smaller majors.
They're majors, they're not even bosses. But
how about the loot? Fully masterwork, high rolled loot.
Yeah, that's nice. Actually,
yeah.
I mean,
my first masterwork.
My first masterwork. It'll be my first masterwork for a while until I find that golden roll.
Yeah.
But
I'm excited. I'm wondering if if the rewards will be as good each week, or if it's just a first time type of reward.
No, I mean it's a pinnacle reward, right? So we got another pinnacle resource.
Right.
We got that one. Hopefully, well, Festival of Lost will still be here for a week, right? So Festival of Lost will still be here next week. That has a pinnacle reward.
2 weeks, actually.
Yeah, it'll be here this week and then the following week because it goes to the 18th.
Yes, and a note on that: do not do your pinnacles next week until Thursday because they're changing the pinnacle grind. We'll talk about that in just a second after we wrap up the pit conversation. Which I suppose we're mostly at the end.
We didn't really talk about the maze part though, like with the 3 ogres.
That part was sweet.
That part was terrifying. Like this is one of the things that I missed in Destiny is like actually being like scared when you're running through something because then you just come out a hole and then you're just this giant, giant ogre, and then because you're not getting confused by the radar, but you're getting a little like deceptively led by it because of the ads that spawn under the little caves. So then you're like, all right, I think I'm clear, but then you go out there and then like the actual red bar was for a giant ogre that just stomps you into the ground. But yeah.
Yeah, I also really like how big the area is. I feel like there's probably a ton of secrets we haven't figured out yet.
Yes.
I hope there are.
Yeah, me too.
It's the hope. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know.
Is Necrochasm in there somewhere?
Could it be? Or Vex
Probably not.
Mythoclast?
I don't know why.
I don't know
you guys
about Vex
want that guy.
Mythoclast.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
You didn't like Necrochasm?
No, it's just it was fine.
This guy.
I like the way it looks, but
I just like the way it functions.
it's not useful in PvP, so I don't
Yeah. The Pinnacle grind is changing. I guess I'll just move on to that really
They
quick.
listened to you again, Destin.
Yes.
This is like
Thank
the
you.
third week in a row that you've changed Destiny.
They're
Single-handedly.
improving
Can you say one thing for me? We
What?
want Necrochasm in the game.
It's the only way he'll get his
Say it.
wish.
Brian really wants
No.
Necrochasm.
You got to say we want.
We really want Necrochasm.
Thank you.
I don't
You hear that? But damn it.
Yeah, so the Pinnacle grind is changing. So now all Pinnacle drops are going to be +2 as of Thursday. So at reset, maybe just chill, do some other stuff. Don't go for your Pinnacles. Go for the tier 1s and tier 3s.
Reset
The
next
tier
week is
3s.
on Thursday.
Yeah, basically. You're going to want to do your raid. You're going to want to start your... Well, you could bank your Iron Banner Pinnacle drops and then pop them all on Thursday, right?
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're also changing that too because they were resetting daily.
I love
time.
that was an accident.
Yeah,
Totally.
the accident that the Iron Banner
was it?
Yeah.
Iron Banner's the bounties were resetting daily and they weren't supposed to. So that's
Yeah.
not happening.
It was in
next
their
week.
list of like fixes. Like,
Yeah,
hey,
it's like,
we're
oh, this is
changing
unintentional. It's like, oh, we didn't know that was an accident, but all right.
We
Now,
thought
to
it
make
was-
sure we say it again, we are currently planning a hot fix that will increase Pinnacle reward player gains next Thursday. We highly recommend that players wait to redeem any Iron Banner bounties, which reward Pinnacle gear until the hot fix has been applied. Don't play Iron Banner until Thursday is basically what they're saying.
Well, you can play it. Just
Yeah.
bank the mod or the mods.
We also
bounties.
fixed an issue that was causing the banners to reset daily. Players will have 4 bounties to complete throughout the week. So 4 drops in Iron Banner now.
Especially since now that like it's +2, they're like, no, we can't give
Yeah.
them +2
Well,
Pinnacle
we were-
every single every single day.
Am I crazy, or was Iron Banner last week? Literally last week?
It was the.
Was
Yeah,
it the week
no,
before?
I think you're
It
right.
was not
I think
last.
It was last week.
It was very recent,
was-
and we're going like right
Was it?
back
It
into it.
was
yeah.
last
I think
week.
it was literally last
Yeah,
week.
because I remember tweeting, "Man, I did all my characters, and then here it is again."
And we didn't even have time to make a new like background. It's
I
still
know.
Iron Banner.
I just left it. I was like, "Well, they're going to do it every 2 weeks."
No, I love that they're fixing the Pinnacle drop daily Iron Banner thing because we were talking about on this show how it's like, oh, well, at least it's kind of easy to get Pinnacle drops because when they do events, there's lots of ways to get it. And
Yeah, October 15th. That's when the Scour the Rust bounty quest was popping up on other outlets.
Yeah, that was
and
last
such.
week.
that was
So yeah,
Is this the fastest Iron Banner turnaround ever?
I'm not complaining. I
No,
like
no,
Iron
yeah.
Banner. I don't know why Sean doesn't. What's up with
But
that?
maybe this week they're not introducing like double and triple valor for that week. I didn't see anything about that in the
yeah, no, I didn't.
in the TWAB.
Interesting.
All right, there is one other thing happening this week, and I actually remember what I want to talk about for the dungeon before we move on to the final topic, and that's Festival of the Lost. People were initially saying that the moon is a reskin. We're going back to an old destination. Let's talk about the moon for a second and how that is utter crap. That is absolutely wrong. We have this whole new pit area. We have new NPCs that are actually there. So even if it is a familiar looking location, there is so much that they have done. The lost sectors have been crafted in a way where there's barriers that you have to like sort of progress through, and when you're initially leveling, like that's a more enjoyable experience. The NPCs that actually give you quests are like haunted spirits. It says a lot about the aesthetic. We have Eris Morn, who is in a new centralized location with, by the way, Jade Rabbit statues below her that you can go. Has anybody solved like what do you get? I think you get like an emblem.
Yeah, I think it's just similar to the cat statues in the.
It's just like a
Dream
thing,
City.
an interesting thing that you can do.
Also for a triumph for what's the title for Shadowkeep?
One of the three.
One of the
titles,
three.
yeah.
I think it's Harbinger.
In addition to all that, you have the lectern where you can roll something like 20 weapons or pieces of armor that you can pick the slot that you want and, kind of grind out that statistic. So I find it really difficult to just say, oh, the moon is just the same thing that we've always done. And now we have this Altar of Sorrow situation that's popping up. They've done an excellent job of keeping me invested in this space. The Vex Offensive is grindy. The Vex invasions that
Hey, at least they're
happen
adding new weapons. At
organically
least
on
they're
the
adding new
moon.
weapons to the Vex offensive.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw
yes.
that. That's really good. Smart idea.
In addition, the Vex invasions that happen organically on the moon do a lot of world storytelling that Luke Smith sort of talked about pre-launch.
I actually
that
think
I really
that's
like.
better than the Vex offensive activity. I really liked when they just popped
randomly
in.
spawn right after
sweet.
the public events. Yeah.
I love that too. They spawn, they pop in after public events. There's 4 waves of them. If you kill the big boss man, by the way, you get so much loot this expansion. So one of the biggest criticisms that I've noticed, I've been writing about Destiny for like a week and a half. So I've been thinking a lot about Shadowkeep, and I'm producing something for outside of work that I've been having a lot of fun with, but it's got me really, really thinking about what they've done with Shadowkeep. No, it's loot drops that show that. Yeah, I'm building it up. Anyway, they've done a lot with Shadowkeep, actually, that is really, really improving the overall experience. Now, the reason I love the invasions is the organic storytelling, and you get a ton of loot. You get loot from Altar of Sorrow. You have loot in the pit, the dungeon. You have like the 20 or so drops that you can do at the lectern. There's a lot of stuff that you can get from there. But we didn't get vendor refreshes. So I've started wondering, okay, yeah, that's a negative. It would be great to have vendor refreshes. At the same time, my vault is totally over encumbered. I have no idea what to do with the oppiative or whatever hand cannon that I'm trying to grind out the perfect roll for. And the perfect roll from the Vex offensive loot there. So is it a problem that we didn't get vendor refreshes? Yes, but at the same time, we have so much new loot to get in Destiny. There's a lot of new weapons.
The vendor refresh thing is something that I kind of lightweight disagree with, just because like, what weapons are we using from the Forsaken vendor refresh that we're using all the time? I feel like if we get another vendor refresh, people are that's just more loot in the world that we're going to just be dismantling or using for infusion fuel
or filling up our postmaster. I think they need
filling the postmaster. It's just more fodder out there that's just like, I'm not using this weapon. I'm not using that piece of armor. It's just stuff like that. I think that's just going to keep happening.
If Bungie solved the collection issue and allowed me to pull my legendaries out, literally my vault is clean. Like, I'm going to delete so much garbage out of my vault, but because they haven't addressed that yet, and it's been like a year, I still have to hold on to like my God roll everything, even if I don't use it. But I'm kind of getting to the point where Shadowkeep has nudged me to, hey, dude, just delete everything Armor 1.0. Who cares? You're not a min-maxer like Teddy is. Teddy, a friend of the show. What were you going to say? Sorry.
I was just going to say, like, I think that the fact that your guys' vaults are filled up and you're not using stuff is kind of more of a criticism of the way they do vault system and collections and all that than it is of like a refresh. Like, I think weapons refresh are important. Now, I think the fact that they've kind of gone away from a weapons refresh and instead have made a ton of more ways for you to get loot organically rather than buying them, I think that's way better. But yeah, I think a lot of those sources are only pretty recent, right? Like Iron Banner wasn't there at launch. The pit drops that you get weren't there at launch. And so I think this is something where we're really not going to know what Shadowkeep was ultimately until, a few weeks from now when the season ends. But
I'll enjoy a vendor.
I hear you. I hear what you're saying.
I'll enjoy a vendor weapon refresh, not even just armor, when the meta can start being shaken up, when we're not using Recluse and Mountaintop and all these other grenade launchers anymore. Like,
I hate to say it, we all know it. Recluse is getting a nerf sometime.
It will at some point. I mean, like I think it'll get rendered useless at some point. But
I think part of the problem isn't really the fact that things need to get debuffed. I think Recluse is fine. It's just that it seems like because Recluse and some of the other pinnacle weapons they made have become so dominant, like Bungie's gun shy about making their weapons powerful. Like, they don't want to make them powerful because they're afraid they'll be too powerful. So instead they make them like Xenophage, where it's just like, okay, well.
Yeah, if they keep
Xenophage
doing
and
that.
Leviathan's Breath. Leviathan's Breath is usable, at least in scenarios, but Xenophage is not usable.
Yeah, you're never going to use the Leviathan's Breath over like, the
Izanagi.
It's just not going to
happen. Yeah, it's okay to make another weapon that's as good as the Recluse is. Because it's not me having a gun that is just as good as Recluse isn't going to break the game any more than it already is.
Hot take: Recluse is a crutch. And we all
It is a
and
crutch,
like
for sure.
I'm guilty of using it absolutely. And I think Bungie will eventually have to figure out something about that weapon. I love that gun.
Yeah, I just hope that the solution isn't like, hey, this gun that you've been using is no longer a useful weapon.
Yeah.
I hate when that happens in a game. It's like there should always be something in the game that that I can use that's comparable to it. That doesn't make me feel like I'm a detriment in an activity because I know that there's something more powerful that I can be using.
Yeah, we all grinded for it, and it would suck if it were less powerful. I think they should just like, look, Bungie, your game's never going to be balanced. There's 50,000 weapons. Just like give in, make things fun, and make every player have their own.
So they
OP
did
gun.
that, and we're in the situation that we are now with Shadowkeep because of power creep. So power creep is a design issue where Well of Radiance is like the only thing you can have equipped on your Warlock, right?
Yeah.
And Dado did a great 18-minute or whatever rant about how PvP was broken at the time and how the powers were just out of control. And I think Bungie has done a good job to normalize it. The only things I see a few things spiking out, Izanagi's and Recluse. And it's going to be interesting to see what they do about it. Well, they made Izanagi's unobtainable. No, I'm just kidding.
So we removed it from the game. Nobody can get the gun anymore. Yeah.
Just teasing. But I don't know. Just sort of thinking about all that stuff. How did I get on this tangent? Festival of the Lost is also happening this week.
Just like Shadowkeep's campaign, he ends his topics abruptly.
15 minutes to win it. That is the philosophy. I think if you get to wave 9 or 7. 9, you get a pinnacle drop.
9 is a pinnacle
I
drop.
hit 8. I hopped in with randos and we accidentally hit 8.
Randoms is kind of hard to get 9 because everybody's kind of just doing their own thing, not really communicating.
Yeah.
So
I did it once. It's fine. What do you guys think about it?
That's on my next list of things. This weekend's probably just going to be a lot of Festival Lost grinding because I want to get all the triumphs for the event and all that. But the first few times I played it, I like the format a lot better than last year. Last year it was get through as many waves as you can, branches as you can, and then fight one like boss fight encounter essentially with like multiple bosses. And now it's one branch boss, another branch boss, another branch boss, which I think is a better format. And I also like that it will never go on indefinitely. I had runs before in the old format where it was just like, all right, we're on branch 54. Can we please just stop?
was that more so of the Revelry? Or was that?
I don't remember which one it was, but I know what you're
because I remember in the Revelry. I think is if you killed the more enemies you killed, time ticked up.
I think you're right.
Right.
I think you're right, Brian.
I thought it
doesn't matter.
You might be right.
Doesn't matter,
dude. They're all so simple.
I mean, Haunted Forest and
it doesn't matter.
the
Please move on.
all right.
You're
Anyway.
just gonna get shit in the comments for not knowing what you're talking about.
you guys don't know what you're talking about. That was
I'm here to correct.
There was a mode in the Infinite Forest where you could just go on indefinitely.
Yeah.
That's
so
the
I
important
like that
Which
this
was, I
has
believe,
a
the
hard end. I'm pretty sure. I don't know.
Anyways,
doesn't matter. What's your point?
So let's talk about how we enjoyed the Revelry.
Yeah.
I like that this has a hard end and that you can get to 9 and be like, cool, I did it. And it's actually challenging to get there, fairly challenging anyway. But yeah, there's just looking at the triumphs, there's going to be a lot of grinding. So
I have a question for you about the triumphs. Why do you care about your triumph score?
I don't know. I guess I just have a. This is getting really deep right now, guys.
It's like the Xbox
Why do you
achievements, right? Like, why do you care about Xbox achievements? I mean, I used to. I don't care about like achievements anymore.
Yeah.
Well,
we can take this outside if you want.
As somebody with over 200K gamer score.
Wow. The thing is like there was a time in my life where I was very invested into my Xbox gamer score.
Yeah.
And then like one day I kind of just stopped caring.
Yeah, the Xbox One launched. That's what happened.
That might have been it.
They changed their achievement.
Actually, you're right. When
it
became like an achievement system became like an app and you couldn't get achievements offline, it was just like,
nope.
Okay, we don't have to talk about that anymore.
anyway.
Travis, why do you care about triumphs was the question.
I guess it's my deeply rooted need to feel validation. I'm just kidding.
maybe a completionist.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm a little bit of a completionist, and some of them like there's an Eris Morn mask mod you can get out of it, which I want to at least get that. But I just want to feel like I at least like did everything for the event and got it out. And I haven't gotten the auto rifle yet.
Yeah, I've gotten the auto rifle.
I did.
So like I kind of feel like I've completed.
Yeah.
Festival Lost because I've got all the available masks, so I've already gotten that triumph.
How much are the masks? It's like 20.
They're like 20,
points.
40, 50, depending on which one of them is
50.
I know 50. I think that's the Drifter's mask.
Drifter mask.
Well, I'm grinding out the SMG, so I've just been wearing a Festival of the Lost mask for all activities.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
I
for
have
sure.
like 1,000 candy and 30 coins or something, and I haven't even been actively participating in the event.
Yeah, if you go into the forest and like you just do a couple runs in the forest, you'll have a bunch of chocolate strange coins for the masks, and then like just infinite candy.
Yeah.
So when you finally get around to being able to get the auto rifle, you'll be able to pay for it, no problem.
And it's masterworked.
And it's masterwork. Yeah.
So that's a good one.
And then there's another thing you can get. Is it a new skin of the auto rifle? There's another item to the left.
That's just a randomly rolled of the same gun.
Oh,
They have the curated masterworked version of it, and then once you obtain that, then you can infinitely buy it more again, but randomly rolled, not masterworked.
I like it. I did it once. Maybe I'll go for that pinnacle drop. If I can get a crew together.
I hear the auto rifle's
I don't
good,
know, man.
I hear it is good.
Yeah,
Rifle.
yeah. I hear it's
Don't take it
I hear it's
into
very good.
momentum control because you're going to lose.
I don't know, man. I don't like the Festival of the Lost event. I don't like anything that sends us into the Infinite Forest.
It's so spooky.
I
there's a
hate the
broom.
Infinite Forest. I hate it.
Yes.
We were at
It's the
review
Infinite
event
Forest,
together.
man.
We were at the review event where they were unveiled the Infinite Forest, and they made it out to be this like really cool procedurally generated, and we were just like, oh
Yeah,
my God,
I
it's
think-
a playable loading screen. That's all it is.
I think for a long time we were like, give us more of the Infinite Forest so we can enjoy that type of content more. But then since they've added it to like the Revelry and Festival of the Lost, we're kind of just like,
No, we're kind of like, that's not quite what we meant. We meant like alternate reality
we
scenarios.
want Diablo Rift
like-
in Destiny 2.
Yeah, where we go back and do like Vault of Glass using the Infinite Forest as a narrative device to get us there, right?
Yeah.
Not, hey, send us into the Infinite Forest to collect candy.
But this time, we turned off the lights.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice.
Shout out to the tower designers. By the way.
Yeah,
so
it looks
good.
amazing.
Yeah,
The
it
music
does
is
look
great.
really pretty.
The design is amazing.
Also, my Guardian looks like Jack Skellington. I got that the skeleton armor and then a pumpkin head, and my
That's what
ghost
I have.
is a
That
pumpkin.
I have that pumpkin head, and I have that. It's from Festival of Lost last year. It has the it's like kind of like vampiric warlock robes.
Nice.
And then I made it all black, so it looks awesome.
Nice, dude. Yeah.
So last week I gave the commenters some homework. That's our take on Festival of Lost, by the way, abruptly ended. Last week,
Much like Shadowkeep's campaign.
oh my God. Last week we gave the commenters some homework, and basically we said, tell us one of your favorite things and least favorite things. And guys, while we're wrapping up the show here, and I'm going to go over what they said and we can discuss, but let's think of another homework assignment because this was great. Thank you guys so much for leaving your comments. Szechuan Sauce said, favorite thing, Crucible glory changes. Least favorite thing, no vendor refresh. And the no vendor refresh thing I saw over and over again in the comments. And while I do agree with it, I do also see that there are, like Eris was introduced as a vendor. That's like a new loot pool, and we have the dungeons and everything. So
there's so many different ways to get loot in Shadowkeep that a vendor refresh kind of just isn't necessary because like what weapons from all the new ways that we can get weapons like from the Lectern, from Altar of Sorrow, all these weapons, no one's really using them.
Yeah, and
everyone's still using the same weapons.
Bungie needs to figure out what they're going to do with collections, or they need to address the storage issue. Like, there's so much loot in the game now, you literally don't have enough space to store it all.
Yeah.
What's your take on
Maybe that's a homework assignment for this episode is just like
delete stuff in your vault that you're not using.
Clean your vault. Make your bag, clean your room.
No, it's like what do you think Bungie should do? Like, should these old weapons get nerfed so that we use the new ones, or do they need to make stronger weapons?
They literally need to fix the collections. That's it. They said they were working on it like before Forsaken.
Yeah.
Like, and nothing.
Forsaken was when they introduced the collections, wasn't it?
Yes.
But they said you will not be able to take out random rolls. We're working on a solution, and no solution ever came. It's been a year.
I think the easy solution, I don't know if it's easy because I'm not a developer, is to, I don't know, maybe let me pick a role that's like my collections role.
Yeah.
Or like whatever role I get the very first time I get that weapon.
Yeah. So at least you have a base version.
At least you have a base version. I mean, obviously, we'd prefer that we could infinitely grab the weapon of that role.
There are actually games
of
that
a specific role, but yeah, exactly. So it's like if I get a weapon, and I like the role, like cool. All right, you can consume this weapon to make it infinitely grabbable from collections. and that's it. That's all you can ever get from the collections of that specific.
Here you go.
Check out the next one. Oh, sorry, Travis.
But Bungie, if you are willing to do this, we will compromise and allow you to make a new currency in the game. I know you love currencies.
No,
you can only stack 10 of them, and then they go to your postmaster.
Okay, before you move on,
that currency lets you decide which roll of a gun is your collections roll.
They're wrong. Don't do that. And let stuff stack. What are you guys doing?
Why?
It's all just in the postmaster anyway, guys.
Why in the world did Phantasmal cores get stacked to 999, but not the fragments?
Dude, it's so funny.
I have like three cores, and in my entire my main inventory, and each of my characters have 30 in their postmaster.
Dude,
and I'm just
we could do an entire episode about currencies because I have so much to say about this. But I really thought it was funny that for this event, for the Festival of the Lost, they introduced chocolate strange coins, a reference to a currency that has since been abandoned.
It's a currency.
They're reintroducing a chocolate version of it.
That you won't even get the reference to unless you play Destiny 1.
It's so weird. It's so weird.
Like,
it's really good.
Whatever, man. It's fine.
Zetnich said his favorite thing was seasonal rank and artifact power while doing dumb messing around activities or helping a friend run older content. I'm still getting something. Totally agree. Great point. Least favorite. Check this out. No vendor or loot pool updates. Factions and planet reps. Nothing going on. Non-active, non-playable characters. Still getting nameless, midnight, and better devils. I feel all energy went into designing Eververse armor and weapon ornaments. Let's talk about that. How do you guys feel about the fact that Eververse got this season pass that is cool? And by the way, hit level 100, and I was consistently incentivized to level up that season pass.
Yep.
I like that system. Meanwhile, no vendor refreshes.
Mm-hmm.
It's all in the Eververse.
Yeah,
that's actually a really, really good talking point.
It's a good point. Yeah, I mean, they obviously they need to change their model now that they're kind of going into the free-to-play direction. So I'm not opposed to there being like a very robust Eververse thing, but it has to feel like there's something for the free-to-play players or the players that aren't gonna be paying for all of the Eververse stuff. And yeah, I do think that it's totally it's very obvious how big the gap is when you look at Festival of the Lost.
Yeah,
there's like 40 items in Eververse that are just Festival of the Lost. You can get a broomstick that you can fly, a whole new armor set.
I'll be using that forever if they don't take it away from me.
Meanwhile, mask and auto rifle.
Yep, it's just auto rifle and some masks that you can unlock, and then that's it. Like yeah. So
Festival is of the cost, as they used to call it.
Yeah.
Festival of the cost.
And this also brings up the conversation I've seen some people bring up about Bright Dust. So we converted all our stuff to Bright Dust. What are we buying with our Bright Dust? That hasn't been addressed. Is it going to take a year? Because you haven't addressed collections yet.
Yeah, they
and
did
now
say,
you need money, right, to continue operating your business. So they have to do something with the Bright Dust economy.
Is there even a way to earn Bright Dust right now?
Yeah, you just dismantle stuff, or
you can't dismantle things anymore for Bright Dust
anymore. So how do you get it?
Oh, really?
And there's some bounties that reward you with Bright Dust.
I've definitely gotten Bright Dust. I don't know the answer. Let's not just guess. People don't like it when we do that. So stop doing that.
I know it's not through dismantling Eververse stuff.
No, that's confirmed.
The
legendary shards and glimmer now. They got rid of that option. But like even like and also like the cost of things for Bright Dust, like oh yeah, you can buy the Warlock Skeletor armor set, 6,000 Bright Dust.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Yeah, they're very pricey.
Yeah, the broomstick is like $10. It's like 800 silver. Yeah.
I'll just wait till it goes into the free Eververse pool because I have 50,000 Bright Dust that I'm doing nothing with.
And they did say that everything in Festival of the Lost will be rotated into Bright Dust at some point.
You have to wait till next season.
But and I think data miners showed that those things will be like late, like the stuff that we really want, like the broomstick will be late into Festival of the Lost. So it's like everybody wants a broomstick now, but they're like, we'll give it to them in like late November.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with that. Broomstick's cool. Rookie License said, favorite thing, the raid. I feel like it's not overwhelming, complicated, and it feels more run and gun, which I absolutely love. Least favorite thing, the power grind just feels too excessive. I'm not even going to try to do it. Totally agreed with you last week on your least favorite thing.
You might still agree with them. We haven't actually seen.
Yep. Yeah. We're going to see what happens on Thursday. This +2 thing, I did the raid, and I swear to God, all I got was legs and energy. Or like the second
I can't tell you how many times I got a bow.
I still don't have the bow.
That's all
I
I get.
would've
You can
loved
take
to
all
get the bow.
10 of
The bow's
mine.
actually
I
if you
have
want.
freaking 4 of the hand cannon. I already have the god roll on the hand
I
cannon.
haven't even gotten the hand cannon yet.
You can have 3 of mine.
Let's trade. When are we getting trading in the game?
No, please don't do that.
Yeah, I do like the raid. We sort of discussed that on the episode about the raid, though. But Medlios said favorite thing: raid, moon location, and preemptively saying the dungeon. Kind of discussed the dungeon and that stuff. Least favorite thing: time gating and drip feeding of content and use of FOMO tactics to keep people playing. We kind of hit on that at the beginning of the show. It's interesting that he had that comment, and we just kind of organically talked about it at the front. Where I sort of like the breadcrumb strategy. You have a reason to sign on every Tuesday for a glimpse into the story. You guys don't like it.
No, I actually do like it. I just wish that there were more in the base release. Like, it doesn't have to be either or, right? Like, they've got all this Eververse money. I assume they should be giving us kind of something as big as Forsaken, and then dripping out all the other stuff, because they did that with Forsaken. Forsaken had the dungeon come in after the raid was completed, and the raid wasn't there at launch too. And I think you can have it both ways. So
yeah, I think the main issue is, like, I don't mind. Obviously, like, it's great having something to do every week you log in, something new to do. But as you said, like, the base version of Shadowkeep felt very light, and that was kind of like I feel like maybe the overall community kind of had that same consensus, is like it kind of felt light. And then we had what happened this week on Tuesday. It felt like they dropped Shadowkeep 2 on us. Yeah. Where we had the altar, the momentum control, the dungeon. We can't really call it Festival of Lost because that's a separate event. But it just felt like there was so much content and it launched on that day. They're like, this amount of content in Shadowkeep at launch would have felt like it was a bit more of a meteor.
Might have scored higher.
It might have scored.
I definitely would have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really interesting. Reviewers are put in this is part of the reason people are like, why aren't Destiny review it? I hate reviewing Destiny stuff. You're given a week or so before you can do it.
Week. I had 4 days.
Yeah. And like, just like the raid's not even out yet.
Because your responsibility is to people who are looking to purchase this. Should I purchase it? Should I not? What am I getting? So you have to do it in a finite amount of time. Typically at IGN, we set the standard that we wait for the raid to launch, and then after the raid is launched, that's a huge, substantial piece of content, we release it. With this new release strategy, that actually makes the review harder to do because you get half the picture, and that's one of the biggest criticisms that I saw about my reviews online that you get to deal with now, buddy.
Yeah,
happy to do it. I didn't mean to hit you that hard. I'm sorry.
See you later, Travis.
Yeah.
But no, I agree. Yeah. I personally love reviewing games, but you do have a responsibility to players. The problem is that Bungie's asking for your money now. Right. Yeah. And they're saying like, hey, like you pay for this without telling you really what you're getting. So,
but that's what you're reviewing. You're reviewing what you get.
Exactly.
Now.
Yeah. Because they're selling it to people now. So I totally agree with that. But if Bungie wants to keep doing this, maybe there's a way that they can, I don't know, like pay it over time. Or I don't know, subscription model.
A subscription to the season. It's like each week you pay a little more money and you get it. I don't know. But then you'd have to do a review every single week for one season.
True. Oh man, that'd be
a nightmare. That's fitting though for Shadowkeep.
Anyway,
nice.
Those were the comments that we collected. What do you want people to discuss in the comments that we can address on the show for next week? Did you guys come up with any ideas as we were conversing?
What do you think of Xenophage? How can we make it better?
How can
we make it better? Us.
The vendor refresh is the biggest criticism. What do you want to see in the vendor refresh? I like the positive, negative aspect.
Weapons. More weapons, because we have there's a lot of weapons in the world loot now, right? Like, but we don't use a lot of them.
Yeah.
So if we're gonna get a vendor refresh, I want to see more weapon. I want to see a wider variety of weapons that become part of the meta. Otherwise, a vendor refresh is pointless, because then it just becomes more fodder that we dismantle and don't use or use for infusion fuel.
What should we ask the community though, Brian? Like, so that we can sort of have this conversation with them as a whole.
Like what they want.
But for the vendor refresh. Why is it bad? How do you fix it?
Yeah.
Like a 2-part thing? Mm-hmm. Why do you not like the vendor refresh? How should it be addressed? Yeah. That'll be the homework for this week.
Has Bungie gotten gun shy with like their ability to make weapons feel powerful,
Yeah.
And us wanting to use them.
All right, that's what we'll go with. We'll talk about weapons. We'll talk about the vendor refresh because that was the biggest criticism. What's wrong with it? Explain it in a little bit more detail. How do you fix it? Because you can criticize all day. What's the answer for correction? And let's give that feedback to Bungie, who maybe watches the show. That's it for this episode. Thank you so much for joining us again, Travis. I love that you can just come on over here and hang out on the show, and it's great to have you.
Too.
Brian, thank you for stopping by.
Every week.
Your busy production schedule. And for everybody else, until next time, Guardians out.